Welcome everyone to the BAI show. My name's James Rankin and I'm here with Allan Fernandes from Simple Capital.
Simple Capital Advisory.
Simple Capital Advisory. Mate, welcome along. Thanks for taking the time to come down and record the podcast with me.
Thanks for having me.
Your journey started in BAI how long ago?
So I joined BAI July 2023.
So just over a year.
Yeah.
And how has that been for you?
It's been really fast paced. Just from a few months after I joined BAI, I started the business, and then just early this year is when I started really trying to ramp things up, and now I'm full time. So it's been pretty quick.
It's nuts, and we'll go through that step by step. But what interested you in the buyer's agency space? Like, why did you want to get involved?
I've always been interested in investing in general and just building wealth, financial freedom. And I found that property was the best vehicle to get there. So I've been a property investor myself, and I just wanted to help other people do that as well. And then at the same time, just see unlimited potential with being a buyer's agent. I was getting a bit drained from working a job where you just get paid by the hour. I felt like I had a lot more potential, and running my own business as a BA, I felt could help me achieve that.
Yeah. And yeah, what were you doing beforehand? Like, what was the...
So 4 years as a mental health nurse beforehand, and before that, like a couple of years at a warehouse just picking boxes.
Big shift. Definitely big shift. And now you're running a successful buyer's agency. You're one of the people who I've collected resignation letters from. So I'm like pretty proud of that and pumped for you as well. But your journey, and you said you identified property to be a good investment driver for you, or a vehicle for you. Did you look at other investment models? Like, did you look at shares or crypto and all of that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, all of that. I mean, I still invest a bit into crypto. I'm young, I can take the risk, I guess. Shares as well. I've been into shares, especially during COVID times. Made a bit of money from there, and then just funneled it back into property. And yeah, I've even dabbled in, I don't know if you can call this investments, but other businesses as well, which weren't as successful as this one and didn't provide as much value either, like drop shipping and things like that.
But you had a crack. Had a crack at other stuff. And this has been the most successful, swing. Like you swung for the fences on a couple of other ventures, but this has been the most successful venture.
Yeah, 100%.
And it has allowed you to create freedom in your life too.
Yeah, incredible amount of freedom. I got a 3-month-old baby at home, and it's just awesome that I'm just in the other room. If I want to take a couple-minute break in between meetings and just spend some time with her, I can. Whereas when I'm working as a nurse, I'm there for 8+ hours. So, yeah.
And if we go back to July 2023, not that long ago, what did life look like in your current role, or your previous role rather? What did it look like day to day?
At that time, it was pretty hectic because I signed up for BAI a few weeks before a big my wedding celebration. So me and my wife were just frantically preparing for that. I was working 7 days a week as a nurse to save up enough to do that. But then, so I joined BAI at the most hectic time. So that's how my life was 12 months, or not, just over 12 months ago now. Yeah, just nonstop, working 7 days a week as a nurse, preparing for a new chapter in my life, and studying to be a BA as well at the same time. And
the time that I've gotten to know you, you do seem like that type of person. It's like there's no right time. It's just like, I'm going to get it done. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that this is the right move forward. So it doesn't matter if you're planning a wedding or having a child. It's just like, I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
And we have a similar or a passion for a certain type of influencer who talks about these kind of things and like getting stuff done or doing what's required.
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy. Has there been anyone else, like sort of a key player in your your sphere that has influenced you just to be the way that you are?
It's a good question. do people from BAI and Everest count?
Absolutely.
Well, yourself, what you've done with your own VA business and kind of automated that, and now you're working on something else. That's kind of like how I am as well. Like my goal is to eventually kind of automate this, just oversee it, and then create something else, a new machine that can run by itself as well. Ben Handler as well, of course, like just seeing what he's done with his own BA business, and now once again he's created something else as well, which BAI, Everest, etc. But yeah, Hormozy as well. I'm a big believer in just sticking to like a few people, because a few years back, when I was all into drop shipping, all this stuff, like I was in that mindset where I'm just consuming information from everywhere. Whereas now it's just like, okay, I just got Hormozy, I got my few mentors, that's it. Yeah.
It's a good realization because people can get obsessed with that new thing. And I think as entrepreneurs, you'll always be shiny object syndrome, right? Like there's this new thing over here. And if you do filter through too many people, like if you go Hormozy, Gary Vee, there's a ton of them out there, right? Like there's so many influencers out there. And if you keep bouncing around, it'll be like, oh, Hormozy said this new thing, or Gary Vee said this new thing, or I've heard this other person say this new thing, right? And you'll start that journey on trying to implement that thing that you're learning from them, and you'll drop what you've already been doing. And it's this just revolving bloody door on new things that you don't actually get a result on, right? Because you don't commit to something long enough. Mm-hmm. And I think that's key, like absolute key to understand early on in business is just to keep it simple.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've already done that. So if we go through July last year, that was obviously hectic time of your life. You're studying for BAI, you're getting your licensing, getting married, working 7 days a week, full on. And then if we fast forwarded to you actually working in the business, what did that look like? Because you tape it off, right? Like you were nursing, and then there was a significant moment where you said, stuff this, I'm going to focus on the BA business. Mm-hmm. What did that moment in time look like?
So that was like end of 2023 / start of 2024. What did that look like? I was still working 7 days a week as a nurse. And I was, any spare moment that I had, I can say this now because I'm retired as a nurse, but I'd try to smash out whatever notes I had to do as a nurse or whatever, and I'll just be sitting there in the office. I feel bad for my patients, but I was sitting there just working on the business, whatever I needed to do, because I'm just like, I just need to escape this. And I've had like a situation occur with my mental health nursing where I got seriously assaulted. That was November 2023. And after that moment, I remember being in the emergency at like 7 a.m. in the morning. I was there the whole night, and I just remember like, this is awesome. Like that's what that was going through my mind. I was just like, this is exactly what I need to just wake me up and just be like, look, if you want to make it happen, this is the time. So I just went really hard with prospecting. But at that time, I wasn't keeping it simple. I was more just shooting everywhere. I was just sending hundreds of messages on LinkedIn every day and reaching out to different brokers and accountants, and posting on Facebook groups and posting content everywhere. It was just all over the place. And yeah, I did end up signing up a few clients just from there. But now these days I'm more just focusing on one type of thing, one platform, one avatar.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And it's not just Hormozy that talks about that. I've learnt to understand that there are quite a few other people that run that method. But yeah, one avatar, one product, one platform, and it does work. Like when you're just honed in on something, you can really, really get penetration, right? Like an inch wide, mile deep. That's Seth Godin. Like he's spoken about that for many, many years. 1,000 raving fans. Like that's all you need to create $1 million business. But your platform has been Instagram, right? Like that's been your main go-to.
Yeah, and I feel like I only started honing in on that in the last 1 or 2 months, because previously I'd repurpose my Instagram content and put it on Facebook and TikTok, and then I also start writing some stories on LinkedIn, etc. Whereas now I'm like, okay, look, I'm starting to get clients. Like last week I signed up 3 clients with my increased fees now from Instagram, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stick to this one thing and not put any time whatsoever on any other platform. So yeah, now I'm really focusing on Instagram like properly.
That's crazy, man. So 3 on Instagram or from Instagram. That's like,
Yeah.
they all
In 1 week.
originated there. Crazy.
Yeah.
So what did that look like in terms of your content? I know the type of content that you're putting out there. It's green screen, talking about a particular suburb. You're giving your insights to that particular area. Is that where they originate from? Like people are following you and then you're just communicating with them?
Yeah, basically. So yeah, a lot of my suburb reviews that I've done have started to go a bit viral, and I boosted one of them. I've just kept it boosted, just spending like $7 a day or something on there, and I've gone from like 700 followers to I think it's like 2.2 now in just under a month, I think.
That's crazy, dude.
So I'm just going to keep it running.
Yeah.
And then I was doing a sell by chat method.
Yep.
But now to be more efficient, I've actually just signed up with an Instagram management type agency where they're going to be editing for me as well and helping me script. I'll still do my own suburb reviews. They'll just help me with other content. And they're setting up a ManyChat automation for me where it's just going to be automated, all the lead generation and booking and calls, etc.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing moving forward.
Yeah, cool. And so the 3 that you'd signed, what was that journey like for them? They were a follower, then you chatted to them in chat.
Yeah.
And then guided them through to a call.
Yeah. Simple as that.
It's crazy. It's so like it blows my mind. Obviously, we push or teach that quite a bit inside of Everest. We've had some really good success with it, but it still blows my mind. Like every time I hear that people have generated tens of thousands of dollars just from their Instagram platform, and you don't have that many followers, right? Like it's not as if you've got 200,000 followers, you got 2,500 or just under 2,500, and you've signed up, do you know roughly how many clients you've signed up through Instagram?
Total from Instagram, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Maybe between 5 and 10.
5 and 10.
But 3 of them have come in the last week because that's when I've just started focusing on it.
Yeah.
So I feel like majority of my clients moving forward will come from Instagram.
And that's 10 grand plus, like $10,000 plus per sign up.
Yeah.
Crazy. Just absolutely nuts. Yeah. Again, it just blows my mind on that process. So your business model predominantly investor?
Yeah, investor, Australia-wide.
Australia-wide. And what sort of markets have you been buying in at the moment?
Past year, it was a lot of areas in WA and Queensland. But just recently, which I'm happy with, is Melbourne is starting to warm up, despite what the news says, or Melbourne's not growing, etc. But when you're actually looking at the data and you're seeing what's on the ground, it's very interesting that there's markets within markets, right? Like if Melbourne's not increasing as a whole, Melbourne's like 360 plus suburbs. There's a handful of suburbs that are looking really good, and we're getting pretty good deals in. So I've just started moving to that market, as well as still buying in parts of Queensland. But I think Melbourne is going to take over in the coming years.
The price points as well, like what sort of price points are you mainly working with?
It's anywhere from, I could say 400 to 700, around there at the moment.
Yeah. And the 700, like if you're looking at, say, Queensland purchase at, let's just say it's 650, what's the, what can you buy in Queensland versus what can you buy in Melbourne at the moment?
I guess it depends which part of Queensland as well. Like a lot of the areas we've been targeting are regional Queensland. So, you can buy 422s on a 600 square meter plus block. I just got one for 568, and that's going to be renting at 650 to 700 a week. So the yields there are crazy. The capital growth is looking pretty crazy as well. Whereas Melbourne's a bit of a different market. Like I got one just recently for a client, 422, 735 square meter block for 545,000. It's like 45 minutes from Melbourne. So I highly doubt in like 7 years' time that's going to even be under $1 million.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I remember starting out in this world, in the real estate world. This was well before I was a buyer's agent, but I was standing out the front of display homes because I cut my teeth in the construction world. And I was standing there with one of my mates who was trying to get me into that world or into the construction industry. And he was like, what do you think these houses will be worth in, 10 years time? And they were about, I'd say, 350 to 400,000 at the time. And I'm like, mate, these will be lucky to be 650. And he's like, I guarantee you in under 10 years that these will be worth 800, 850. And sure enough, in about 6 years, 7 years, they were all cracking like 800,000. And it just shows you not so much the confidence in the real estate market, but this is in Melbourne. Like I'm talking about a suburb in Melbourne that was about 40, 45 minutes out of town. Mm-hmm. And just how strong the Melbourne market is. Like it does go through its booms. We've been in a bit of a slump the last couple of years. Didn't really get a good outcome from COVID like some of the other centres around Australia. But it feels like it's just primed. Like it's just primed, ready to go. Because if you're buying something at 650 in Townsville, I know where I'd rather spend 650.
Yeah, much more, I guess, a market that is backed by a lot of strong history, right? And consistent and stable as well. So yeah.
And what's your, like in terms of your strategy around purchase, are there any key focal points that you would look at, like saying, this is why we're going to buy here?
It's pretty boutique in a sense that it depends on the client. So there's two types of areas that I target. One is hotspots, one is warm spots. So it depends. If some clients are looking for really quick capital growth, they're trying to pull out equity in the next 12, 24 months, then we target a hotspot where it's really heated market. It's probably already grown 30, 40% in the last 3 years, but it still has another probably 50% more to go. So we target those areas. Whereas if it's a client who's don't really care about getting quick equity in the next 12, 18 months, then Melbourne is a perfect example. Like it hasn't grown for the past 3 years. It hasn't started booming yet, but I think 12 to 18 months from now, it's going to be a very different picture.
Definitely. And do you find that there's still, because there's a couple of different strategies that people want to go down the road of, and this one of that quick equity growth has definitely come to the forefront. Do you think there's still opportunity out there? Like the sub 400 opportunities is gone. Like that just doesn't really sort of exist anymore. The one that I do see under pressure at the moment is that quick equity gain. Do you feel that there's still opportunities out there?
Yeah, but that price point has definitely increased to like 550 plus, all the suburbs underneath that, they've already grown like way too much. And I wouldn't put my clients in a suburb that's already grown 80% in the last like 3-4 years. It's running out of steam. 550 plus, definitely. Today.
Yep. And there's still, you believe they might go from like 500 or 550 to 650. Like that's the goal, like that sort of 100 grand equity increase.
Yeah, easy. I think in the first 12-ish months or just a bit longer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And your original, so beyond Instagram, has there been any other key like referral partners or anyone else that has been or led to the success of your business taking off?
Yeah, there's been a few referral partners. Like I've had an accountant refer me a few clients. I've had a broker who I did a webinar with as well, and she's a pretty big broker actually. So I got quite a few clients from there. I can't remember exactly how much, between 5 and 10 clients just from doing one webinar with her. So yeah, it's just been multiple different people, and now I'm getting clients referring clients to me as well. So it's just growing without me trying somewhat at this point.
That's always the dream, right? Like if you've got a referral based business, not just from referral partners, but clients giving you clients, that's like the dream, right? Because you never have to market again.
Yeah.
What would be your ideal, fast forward 12 months, what would the business look like?
12 months. 12 months from now, ideally, I want to be spending majority of my time just being the face of the business and bringing business in. And that's why I'm building a kind of like a training board on Monday.com where I'm recording myself right now, just doing every little task in my business. So then I can get someone full-time and they can just see exactly how to do each task. So that's my goal. Hopefully get a full-time, 1 or 2 full-time BAs sometime next year, and just focus on the whole marketing aspect of things.
Yeah. So really be the face of the business, get people into your system, and then have people help you in the back end.
Yeah.
So what part of the process do you like the most? Like obviously you're wearing all the hats, but is that front end part of it you enjoy marketing, you're good at marketing. Is that the part that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think sales and marketing is what I enjoy the best. And I couldn't have imagined me saying this 12 months ago, because I'm like a complete introvert. I'm a really quiet person. I keep to myself. Everyone knows me as like a really quiet person. Now that the people that I knew from 12, 24 months ago, they're seeing my face on Instagram every day. Like, is this the same guy? I wouldn't have even thought I'd be posting on socials every day. But I love business. I love sales, marketing. That's what I love the most. Property sourcing, I enjoy it, but it can be a bit stressful. That's why I want to offload that. Hopefully train someone up pretty well and offload that.
Totally. I find either you love it or you hate it, and there's definitely that divide of buyer's agents. Some just love that sourcing aspect and they don't want to deal with clients. Some just like talking to clients and running those front end processes. So yeah, who knows what that might or what journey that will take you on in the future in terms of bringing people on board. But it sounds like you've found where you fit in the business and what you enjoy doing. And yeah, the scale from there, when you do split it up into that agency or into those roles where you do front end, someone else does back end, someone else does client management, that's when you really can get scale. Like that business works really well. So you had no real sales experience beforehand. Like
none at all.
This is all new to you.
Yeah, very, very, very new. It was very daunting at first, but I guess with practice comes competence.
And it sounds like you were just adamant on making this work. Like 7 days, you don't shy away from hard work. 7 days as a nurse and still setting up a buyer's agency business. It's just, whatever it takes.
Yeah, 100%, whatever it takes. And I'm still working 7 days, but it's a lot more flexible these days. And it's because I want to work 7 days, not because I have to.
Yeah, and that's consistency. That's just the drive, like the overall drive. Like what really motivates you to want to continue with that?
It's a few things. I guess, seeing my daughter smile now, looking her in the eyes, and it's just a magical experience. I'm the provider, and I just have that drive to provide for my family, give them the best life possible. And I guess I'm a bit of a philosophical type of person. I always meditate on death. It sounds a bit, I don't know if it's too grim to talk about on a podcast, but I think everyone should think about death more often and then just realize like how short life is, right? A lot of people would be like, oh, you're only 26, like, why are you acting like you're an old man or whatever? But it's like, I was 21 just yesterday, and I'm going to be 30, I'm going to be 40 in very soon, and time's just going to keep flying. The clock doesn't stop for anybody, and I just want to make sure that before I do leave this earth, I've given it my all. I think one of my fears is like just, being on my deathbed and seeing like, God showing me like, okay, this is who you could have been, and I realize that I haven't achieved that. I don't want to be in that position. I want to, just give my all, be the best version of myself, whether it's in business, family, my mental health, physical health, etc.
Ed Milet talks about something like that. Did you hear something from him on meeting your could have been self? Like, do you know who Ed Milet is? Like, have you heard of him before?
I think I would have heard from him on a.
He's a little bit more old school.
Yeah.
But he says a very similar thing. He's like, I don't want to get to, wherever I go at the end of this life, and then that person show me the person, or I meet the person who I could have been. Like that's like his biggest fear. So it's always like, I want to be that person. I want to be the best person possible. I don't want to ever think that there's a better version of me out there. So that's a driver for you. And so you meditate, like that's something that you do regularly?
I used to when I was younger. When I say meditate now, I guess I somewhat meditate in every moment these days, meaning that I just try to do my best to stay present or focused on whatever I need to stay focused on. When I say meditate on death, it's more so just keeping that awareness that it's just around the corner. It could be, you know? So yeah, just keeping that awareness.
Where do you think that came from? Was that working in hospitals and just seeing people not, you know, in a good way?
Well, I have no idea, James. Maybe even, I don't think it's from coming from hospitals, but maybe just my upbringing as well, just seeing how hard my parents had to work. That's helped me to find my drive. You know, it's typical like immigrant story. You know, my parents came with $1,000 in their pocket and they had to really grind to make it work and support their family. So yeah, I guess that's where that comes from as well. Like, yeah.
Being given an opportunity and just taking it to the full, right? Like just taking full advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to sort of not so much finish it off, but talking about that drive, like that motivation that gets you out of bed every day. And I don't think a lot of people have that core belief, like as to, I want to go and be my full, or like live this life till its fullest, or make sure that I'm maximizing my potential. I really don't think a lot of people understand that. And it sounds like you've done a bit of a self journey on that. Like you've continued to self-improve and figure this thing out, and it will never stop. You know what I mean? You sound similar to me, sound really similar to me, always on this journey of just like constant improvement. You look at other people, you've seen what they've done, and you just want to keep getting better.
Yeah.
So, mate, I really appreciate the insights, and it's not dark. Like I honestly feel that is a good way to motivate yourself. The death clock, like I would always look at the death clock for me, and I'd send a screenshot to my mates, and they'd just be like, why are you looking at this stuff? Like, you're cooked. Or I remember seeing a calendar like years and years ago. There was like little squares where it had your life in weeks or days, or I think it was weeks or months, and it would have like 90 years in little squares.
I got that in my home office.
There you go.
Yeah, it's right in front of my laptop. So every moment I'm working, it's right there.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday morning, I walk, first thing in the morning, I walk over there, scratch another little square off.
Yeah.
There goes another week.
It's scary, right? And I've seen people talk about it in Chinese, you know, like Chinese restaurant, as in they go to Chinese once a month. So if they've got X amount of months left, they've only got that many Chinese dinners. Or if they go to the football 3 times a year, then like, especially when they bring a family member in, it's like, okay, I take dad out to the football 3 times a year. You only got X amount of opportunities to do that. And it's quite confronting. And that is a lot of, like, it can push you, right? Like it can give you that visual on, shit, I need to make use of this time because time is limited. Mate, I really, really appreciate it. What would you say to someone if you met them in the street and they were thinking of joining BAI or becoming a buyer's agent? Like, yeah, what would you turn around and say to them?
Well, I'd say if they really wanted to do it, then they should go for it. It's limitless potential. And if you're someone who's willing to put the work in and create something amazing for yourself, then yeah, you should do it. You know, life is short, like we just discussed. And if you really want to do something, you shouldn't let time pass and you just, you know, you end up on your deathbed and you look back and, I didn't end up doing this, you know? So yeah, especially 2025, I think is a big year for property and buyer's agents in general. Like the awareness is really spreading, and I feel like it's starting to get a bit easier to sign up clients as well, because more people are actually aware that they might need a buyer's agent and they actually know what a buyer's agent is. So yeah, it's a great time.
Amazing. Allan, thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
We'll see you next time.